Good morning, everybody. Good Monday morning, and welcome to the Writing for Digital Media lecture for March 23rd, 2020. So how this will probably work for any lectures that we do here on Zoom is I will say the day and the topic. That way, for some reason, you don't watch right when it's posted. Most lectures will be posted by 8 a.m. On the day that they're scheduled for. So look up the schedule that's on D2L, as well as the PDF version I emailed out last week. And that'll give you an outline of when we'll have Zoom lectures, which will all be recorded. And so if you don't watch it right away at 8 a.m., or if you wait a few hours or possibly the next day, what I'll do for all lectures is start out with the day as well as the topic. What we're going to do for this lecture is this lecture is going to be just an overview of how we're going to move forward this week, as well as introducing your television commercial assignment that we will talk about here in the latter portion of today's lecture. All right, so first and foremost, stay safe, stay healthy. This is going to be a very challenging time. I know it's going to be a very challenging time for you as students navigating all courses moving online. It's a challenging time for a lot of us faculty administrators too. And so my main piece of advice is stay safe, stay healthy. If you're not in Vermilion, stay where you are at home. Don't just make a campus trip just to drive to Vermilion or check out USD. Stay where you are, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll get through this. I know there might be quite a few challenges moving forward. I know it's a very kind of a tough and scary time for all of us, but I'm here to help you. I'm here to help with whatever you need class-wise, assignment-wise, if you have questions. I know some of you are applying for jobs and internships. And so if you ever want any feedback on cover letters, resumes, anything like that, know that I'm always here to help you out. We'll get through this. We'll stay strong and, these next couple weeks. And again, any questions, never hesitate to reach out and let me know. Um, I know some professors I've seen on social media, they've shared pictures of pets. I don't have any pets, but those of you who know me know I'm a fan of mascots, and so I had to bring in Charlie Coyote for our presentation. So you'll see a lot of mascots throughout our lectures that are posted. Again, we'll get through this. I'm always happy to help everybody out. Okay, so the next part I do want to say, staying safe, staying healthy. Remember, practice social distancing. Those are guidelines from state of South Dakota, CDC. While your federal type of health guidelines, those are there for a reason. As I'm sure you know, this is a very contagious type of viral disease, and so practice social distancing. Um, if you are having to talk with people about assignments or things like that, if you're out in public, just make sure 6 feet between everybody out in public. And again, if you're not in Vermilion, stay home. The assignments these next couple weeks that we'll be working on, you can complete remotely. I will help you out if you have questions. If you're working on things remotely, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of family, take care of friends. Stay home if you're not in Vermilion already. Another mascot, as you can see, sitting in a wide empty arena. Um, Again, social distancing, making sure 6 feet space between you and everybody in public. Okay, so since we are not meeting on campus, just as a heads up, I am not on campus. I'm working remotely. USD recommended faculty work remotely. If for some reason you are on campus, you're probably going to notice a large reduction in the amount of students that are at USD and the amount of faculty that are based at USD. And that's all due to the social distancing type of requirements, type of guidelines that the CDC and state and federal organizations, local organizations have had to put in place. And so because of that, I'm holding virtual office hours Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Most of my office hours this semester have been Monday, Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. I'm adding an extra day to my office hours as well. You'll notice 2 times for my office hours. 10 to 11 a.m. I've set aside just for us as a class. So at our normal class time, I'm holding a virtual office hour. If you have specific questions to writing for digital media, specific questions about assignments that you're working on or upcoming, that hour is set aside basically for us to have any discussion, answer any questions, clarify anything whatsoever. My afternoon office hours, same type of normal thing. You could still ask questions about class assignments, things like that. It's just a more general overall office hours for everybody. But just know it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. and 1 to 3 p.m. There are several ways you can get a hold of me. First and foremost is email. If you never emailed me before, it's kyle.j.miller@usd.edu. Sometimes Outlook will pop up my old undergrad USD student email that was kyle.miller. That doesn't work anymore. If you send emails to that, I can't receive them whatsoever. So just make sure it's kyle.j.miller@usd.edu. Outlook has even sent back my Iowa email that's still in the system. So just kind of make sure that it's my current USD email. And this is all on the syllabus too for how to get a hold of me email wise. Another thing I do want to bring up. So email is simple questions. If you have a quick, simple question about the assignment, if you're working on something and you want to just say, hey, what about this? Or are we allowed to do this, this, or this? That's fine. I can email you back fairly right away. For any longer detailed questions, if you have multiple questions about the assignment, if you need to talk about anything with the assignment, if you're stuck on ideas and you want feedback on 2 or 3 ideas or things like that, these next 3 options will probably be a little bit better for you. So one is Google Hangouts. If you have a Google account, it's free, or if you don't have one, it's free to get one. Google Hangouts is free as well. It's hangouts.google.com. You may have to download something onto Google just to make sure you're able to do video chat, audio chat, messaging, things like that. But Google Hangouts is another way to get a hold of me during office hours. My Google email, there's a lot of Kyle Millers in the world. And so kyle.jos.miller@gmail.com is the way to get a hold of me if you'd like to use Google Hangouts. That can be by appointment. And so can office meetings too. These are my set office hours. If for some reason these don't work, if you are busy working, if you're working on other class projects, if you're having to help take care of family or friends, um, I am more than happy to set aside an appointment time to meet with you. So don't ever hesitate to reach out if for some reason these hours don't work, or if you need to maybe have more of a conversational meeting or ask questions that way too. So Google Hangouts by appointment. Same with Zoom or FaceTime as well. You're going to see a lot of Zoom meetings these next couple weeks through USD. It's a popular technology across academia for classes and meetings. So Zoom by appointment, and that could be either individual or group based. So if you need a one-on-one meeting and you'd like to schedule a time, that's perfectly fine. If for some reason maybe you're talking with your classmates, or we'll have a little group assignment in the next couple of weeks. If you want to meet with your group members and bring me in just to answer anything about the assignment, that's perfectly fine as well. I'm always happy to help you out. So Zoom by appointment too. On a case-by-case basis. So these 3, sometimes it's a lot easier to talk about questions or explain things conversationally about an assignment or any clarifications or any concepts that we go over. And so if you don't want to email and you want to just kind of talk things through for the class, Google Hangouts, Zoom, and even cell phone can work too. If you are in a location that maybe has bad Wi-Fi or maybe a tough data signal, case by case basis, you can always just call. Um, Fair warning, the number that is listed on my email is my office number. Um, you can call, but there's going to be nobody in my office. And so that number will not work. On a case by case basis, I can give you ways to contact me via cell phone too. And then that's also by appointment. And that could just be a quick email saying, hey, I really like to talk about this. Can I give you a call Tuesday afternoon and we can go over the assignment real quick? That's perfectly fine. Again, I'm working remotely. I encourage all of you to do the same too. Do not be on campus. If you haven't left for Vermilion or USD already, if you're still at home, stay healthy. Do not travel to campus or Vermilion. And as always, and you'll hear me say this throughout the lecture, probably multiple times, but any questions, don't hesitate to ask or reach out. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you, guide you along not only these next 2 weeks, but in the course in general. Any questions you have about assignments, any feedback you'd like about assignments, things like that. Okay. So one thing you might hear a lot about in lectures is, and from your professors, is whether things are synchronous or asynchronous. That are concepts that we've talked about in the academy quite a bit these last few weeks. Um, for the purposes of this class and for me lecturing, these lectures will be asynchronous. And what that means is we're not going to have meetings at any specifically scheduled time. Basically, it'll be, when I post a lecture, it's whenever you can watch it at your earliest, best convenience. That's how we're going to approach lectures in this class. So my lectures will be uploaded. If we do have them, they'll be uploaded by 8 a.m. the day that they're scheduled. And I will send out links to those on D2L, on emails, things like that. And so mine will be more asynchronous in terms of we're not going to have a set or you know suggested meeting time for everybody. You'll be kind of watch it at your earliest convenience. You're going to want to review lectures for any course and assignment material. So I will try to email as much as I can. Of course, we'll have the assignment descriptions on the D2L drop boxes, but you're also going to use lectures too, to go over course assignment material, because there's some things I will talk about, not just in this lecture, but in future ones, that will explain things a little more in depth as opposed to the actual assignment description itself. One thing I will also let you know about is we are not going to have all in-class assignments or quizzes in the class that are on the syllabus. And so these next 2 weeks will have a bit of a condensed course schedule. And that may have a domino effect too once we resume in-person classes as to what's covered, what's not. For right now, these next 2 weeks will cover the TV commercial. So that'll be an individual assignment. We have talked about TV commercials before spring break. We talked about storyboards. We talked a little bit about kind of the process of how to go through them. I'll provide examples on D2L. So that's going to be this week into a little bit of next week. And then we'll talk about, as well as starting next week, political advertising and the group assignment that goes along with that. So it's going to be a very condensed course schedule. We're not going to cover everything in the syllabus. So we're not going to try to rush through all the assignments. We're going to stick to ones that we can complete here in the next couple of weeks. Just know this is a very fluid and changing situation. So I have a schedule uploaded. I will have lectures uploaded. Just know that depending on state, federal guidelines, that could change. Um, and so you're going to want to check your email, check D2L for any type of course and assignment updates. If you can sync your D2L news notes to your email, that's best. This is through D2L is how I'm going to be notifying you a lot about any course or assignment changes. But constantly check your email for university updates, for any department updates, and then D2L for our course. Again, any questions, if you're unsure of anything, if we do have to change something and you're confused or you want me to clarify anything about assignment requirements, reach out, let me know, and I'm happy to help. So this week's schedule. Today we're going to talk about the TV commercial assignment information. We'll review a little bit, mainly just in terms of what the storyboard format looks like, and a brief overview of the assignment, some things to kind of think about in terms of when you're describing visuals in a TV commercial assignment. And then we will just go through and review the entire assignment itself. So that's going to be today's lecture. Wednesday and Friday are going to be work days for your TV commercial plus virtual office hours. So I'm going to give a little bit extra time for you to work on this assignment. We're going to have Wednesday, Friday into early next week work days, to where we aren't going to upload any lectures. We're not going to have any types of major quizzes. It's going to be basically setting aside time, space for you just to work on the assignment. So that will be kind of Wednesday, Friday, just allowing for work questions, any type of work time you have for the TV commercial assignment. So I'll be upcoming this week. So your TV commercial assignment, it's going to be due 11:59 p.m. Tuesday, March 31st. So you're going to have a little over a week to complete the assignment. And what the assignment is you're going to outline a 60-second commercial about any Vermilion restaurant you want to pick. If you want to pick Silk Road, great. Pizza Ranch, Casey's, since they sell pizza and donuts, The Bean, Cafe Brulee, it does not matter. Just kind of let me know, keep me posted what restaurant you're working on. But it's going to be entirely up to you. Pick whatever Vermilion restaurant you'd like to write about. And you're going to write a 60-second commercial. So in your commercial script, on the left side of the screen, you're going to outline your visuals. So you're going to tell me what the wide shot's about, what the medium shot is about, any type of close-up. That's going to be on the left side. Time cues. We're going to talk about how long a visual should be in a commercial. And so that will all be on the left side, because if you remember, on the left side of a script, it's very technical information. It's how long things are. It's description of things for a producer. Any music or sound effects you're going to want to underline. On the right side of your script, that's where you're going to have your voiceover. In TV formatting, a voiceover is basically you have visuals on screen and then somebody talks over it, whether it's dialogue, whether it is an announcer, whether it's in terms of news, an anchor, reporter, things like that. But that's going to be your voiceover. Any type of dialogue. I know a lot of you have creatively used dialogue between 2 or 3 people in previous commercials. Same thing's true in TV commercials. If you want to have multiple people speaking like a conversation, that dialogue, because it's audio that we hear, that's also going to be in the script, as well as sound effects too. I will upload the TV copy template to D2L. It's going to look very similar to the radio one, okay? But the only difference is how things are going to be labeled left side versus right side. And so just kind of keep that in mind. But the TV copy template is about 99% the same. And so you've already gotten a lot of practice writing commercials and promos so far. The TV commercial, about the only thing new is going to be how you incorporate visuals, okay? So I'm going to upload an example that's going to show you how to label those, and you can use that as a template for your TV commercial. Again, remember time cues. Just like in a radio commercial, you want to label when you want something to air for a producer. Like we've talked about many times during the class this semester, you might not be the one producing your commercial. You'll be the one writing it. You'll be the one coming up with the idea. But depending on what media outlet you ever work for, it could be somebody else that's actually producing your commercial. So you always want to give time cues as to when you want something to appear on screen, when you want to hear something, sound effects, voiceovers, dialogues, etc. Again, remember clear writing. And that really goes back to week 1 throughout the semester. Is how clear is your message? How clear is your writing? Not just proper spelling and grammar and broadcast style. So remember the broadcast formatting. And I can kind of reattach, re-upload guides for that for you. But then think about the clarity of your message. Can you give it to somebody, your parent, your guardian, your brother, your sister, your niece, nephew, and can they understand what your message is going to be from your commercial? So think about the clear writing structure, clearly conveying what it is you want to promote, what it is you want to talk about. So that's the script part of the TV commercial assignment. So keep that in mind. That's kind of the part 1 of the TV commercial assignment. Part 2 is going to be your storyboard. Generally 60 seconds if you kind of factor in 4 to 5 seconds per frame, and we'll talk about that here in a couple minutes. 60 seconds, probably going to be about 12 to 14 frames. You can maybe go a couple more or a couple less, but if for some reason you have 25 frames, I'm going to probably talk to you in the assignment feedback about, hey, you got to really cut these things down, or it might not fit the actual script. Same thing if you have 4 or 5 frames. Well, keep in mind it's a 60-second commercial. Each frame connects to each thing we're going to see on screen, and so it's going to be quite a few less than what you might actually need for the assignment. And so what that's going to be is about 12 to 14 frames, give or take a couple. So 10 to 16, you're going to be fine. Anything less, anything more, well, is going to probably be point deductions in the assignment. What your storyboard does is it's going to match your audio, so your VO, your dialogue, your music, your sound effects, anything that we hear to what we see on screen. with your storyboard, normally, if it was an in-person class, I'd allow if you're very artistic, a lot more artistic than me, um, I remember my lecture about, stick figures are fine, things like that. Um, Normally, you'd be allowed to draw them. For this case, though, since we are online only these next couple weeks, um, Google Images is fine. You can Google images that are the closest connection to what you want to have as visuals for your story script. Because we're not publicly posting them, Google Images is fine. There's no copyright violations, things like that. So just kind of make sure that if you're Googling clear things that will clearly connect to your story. And you'll see that in the example I provide on D2L. So you want to match your audio to your visuals for the storyboard. And like I said, visuals, you can find images online. You can Google it. Since it's not public, since you're not publicly posting these things, Google works well. That's part two. So part one is the script. Part two is the storyboard. Part three is the social media, to where you're going to come up with, a couple creative ways that you would market this commercial on Facebook or Instagram. Facebook and Instagram allow for a little longer descriptions about the commercial. So kind of think about with your social media, one, how would you promote it on Facebook and Instagram? Two, what type of message would you have? Is it a message that if you pick a restaurant that maybe has a strong social media presence, if Pizza Ranch has a strong social media presence, so does Casey, so does Hy-Vee. Is the message connected to maybe what they already produce for social media? If they don't have a strong social media presence, I mean, a lot of restaurants maybe don't. Um, what can you provide that's maybe new or unique? If you wanted to start a social media branding, social media accounts for the restaurant that you choose, um, what types of message would you have? How would that approach or tone be worthwhile to the target audience, to the demographics, psychographics you're trying to reach? And so that's going to be part three. This is all outlined in a lot more detail in the assignment description. Um, Scripts and storyboards, similar to what we've done in radio, commercial, promo production so far. Social media, a little bit similar to your social media writing assignment, where you're thinking about different photos, different hashtags for Twitter and Instagram. This one's going to be Facebook and Instagram. So kind of think about how you would reach different demographics between those social media, and then also analyzing how your message fits maybe the organization, if they don't have a social media presence, or if they do, how that adds or provides something unique or connects to their messaging style so far, things like that. So that's going to be your three parts of the TV commercial assignment. It's worth 75 points. And the reason, there's a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is that you've done many commercials and promos before, so you should be used to the broadcast formatting, outlining your message, how to label music, sound effects, any type of things like that within your assignment. So that's the one reason why. The second reason is that there's a little bit more here than we've covered in previous assignments, because TV relies more on visuals. It's going to be a little more in depth in terms of multiple things to think about within a commercial's message, not just the script, but the visuals, the dialogue, storyboard, how you're mapping out your visuals. And then finally, the social media presence, how you would market on Facebook and Instagram. That's all going to connect within the 75 points. Submit materials as Word docs. And the reason why is because in a Word doc, I go through and track changes, and I'll highlight different segments of your storyboard, your commercial, your social media, and say, hey, this worked out really well. Great ideas for this, this, or this. Or, this maybe didn't work out so well, or here's where some point deductions are at. It's much easier to do that in a Word doc than a PDF. And so submit all materials as Word docs to the D2L Dropbox. In the Dropbox, occasionally, sometimes, I know this has happened in some of my other classes at the other universities I've taught at. Sometimes if you upload multiple files, you might only see the most recent file. I can see all of them. If you want to just have everything in the same Word doc, that is fine too. Just however your script, your storyboard, and social media are all submitted on time to D2L, that's what I'm looking for. And again, any questions about the assignment, let me know. You can let me know as soon as possible. Don't wait until 11:55 p.m. Tuesday to say, "Hey, what about this, this, or this?" Allow some extra time for me to give feedback. But again, I'm always happy to help you out. Okay. So when we talk about labeling things in a script, and you're going to see examples of it too on the left side, if you see WS for a wide shot, for example. So WS stands for a wide shot. Like we've talked a little bit in class before, but I want to go a little more in depth. A wide shot is there to establish footage. It's really there to set the scene of the story. We kind of see a large, wide angle that has a little bit of focus, but there's still so many elements to it that it's kind of just setting the tone for what we might see next. And so a wide shot is going to help set the scene for your story. Generally, wide shots are maybe the first scene in a commercial. It can be a scene that will help kind of reset the picture. So if you're starting with maybe a medium shot or a close up that we'll talk about here in a few minutes, you might go back to a wide shot just to kind of set the tone, things like that. Okay. So a wide shot is going to kind of help give us a clue as to where we're at for a setting. So, for example, this is a wide shot. Get ready for a lot of sports pictures because we just had the Summit League Championship and USD won the Summit League Championship. So, go Yotes. So, a wide shot here of the Premier Center. Yes, we have a court in the middle, but we also have pockets of red and blue for USD and SDSU fans. We have banners in the background. We have the scoreboard. You can see some of the student sections and the cheerleaders over here. You can see the ribbon banners of advertisements at the Premier Center. It's really just showing us here's the atmosphere, here's what's going on. We can't really pinpoint anything specific yet because our focus is mainly from a wide and general sense. A medium shot, a close up would focus on maybe the mascots, would focus on maybe the game being played, the final score, things like that. So a wide shot's going to really help set the scene and establish the commercial. Like we've talked about before, medium shots are going to be kind of think, a personal profile, really from maybe the waist up. So here's Charlie Coyote again. A medium shot is going to be we have focus. We're focused on a specific thing, but there's still enough elements around that we can still see clearly. So what I mean by that is a medium shot. The focus here is on the guy taking the selfie with Charlie Coyote. This is where our eyes are drawn to. Charlie's pointing right at the camera. It's a medium shot because we see everything from the waist up. So there's a focal point, but there's still a lot of background here too. So we see the scoreboard in the back, we see the top of the arena, we see other fans clapping, we see other fans looking at their phones during a game, but we see one main point and then a lot of kind of extra filler around the edges. So that's a medium shot. Me up here in the corner, this is a medium shot because you can see me. So I'm the focal point right here in the middle of the screen, but you also see the wall as a background. You see the door, you see a little bit of the ceiling. That's a medium shot there. One thing to remember is that we see at eye level medium shots. Whether it's eye level kind of your normal viewing, it's a full portrait. There's a little more detail and focus, but we're not focused on minute things yet. Same thing here on this photo of Charlie Coyote on the right. We see a focal point. He's interacting with a little one. He's interacting with a couple specific fans, but then we also see the entrance to the dome. We see some of the dome pillars here. We see other fans walking in the background. We see some of the ceiling. So this is a medium shot here. It's more detail, but there's enough in the background that's going to draw your interest. Just from a photography side, videography side, try to avoid, and this is more kind of a video production type thing, but since we're talking about visuals, remember to kind of factor in shadows and glare. I'm recording this lecture kind of in lesser light, so my face is a little shadowy here on the side. Doors open a lot of sunlight, so there's a lot of glare there. Just in future classes, kind of keep that in mind if you're ever out actually taking photos or doing videography type of assignments. But this is basically a medium shot here. We have a focal point, but there's still a lot in the background we can still focus on. Okay, close-ups. This is Gritty, another mascot. So from the Philadelphia Flyers, very entertaining mascot. Um, Close-up's going to have a lot of specific detail. It's essentially a focus on one clear object and nothing else. So you saw how everything has added more minute detail as we go further from a wide to a medium to a close. Close-up is going to be the most detail that you're going to have in a visual. Notice with this close up, we see his helmet, we see his eyes, we see his face, nothing else. Close up is basically going to be from the neck up in terms of a person. It's going to be a very minute object. So when we talked about maybe a flower that's in bloom, and you zoom all the way in and you see the flower, you see maybe the bee on the flower, you see like the dandelions with the white wisps that are blowing in the wind. It's a very close up footage of you see the dandelion with a little bit of wisp on the edges of the frame. That's a close up. We see basically Gritty's fur in detail. We see individual strands. We see his eyes right here, and that's it. Nothing else is in frame. We don't know what's in the background. We don't know if there's a game going on, if he's at a charity event, things like that. So the close up is basically minute, specific detail, and it's a focus on one object and nothing else. So in your storyboards, when you're mapping out your story in your script, and on your storyboard. One of the things I'm looking for is a mix of wide, medium, and close, and kind of have justification as to why you're including that in your script. Close up of maybe a slice of pizza, or something sizzling in the oven, or frosting dripping from a cake if you're looking at like Mr. Smith's Bakery or Hy-Vee or something like that. Think about what you have close-ups for. Think about why you have a wide shot if you're trying to set the scene of a party or a sporting event, or maybe it's lunchtime at the Muck and you're looking at Chick-fil-A or Qdoba for your restaurant that you want to cover for a commercial. If you're looking at a medium shot, if it's like two people talking at the Muck, if it's a person walking around downtown Vermilion, if it's somebody walking into Mr. Smith's or ordering at Mr. Smith's, kind of that full profile type visual. Think about how you would map that out in a storyboard. And you'll see this on the example I provide, but there's three elements to the storyboard. Up here is where you're going to place your visual. And like I said, you can use Google Images. You can find something that is as close to what the visual would be. It doesn't have to be exact, but if you're talking about Casey's Pizza or Donuts, have a piece of pizza, have a donut. If you're talking about people at the Muck, find crowd shots of like a large dining hall, people eating dinner or lunch, something like that, very close to what you're looking at. So up here in these blank white boxes, uh, right here where my mouse is scrolling through, that's where you're going to put your visuals. Remember, each visual is going to correspond to a specific shot in your script. So you want to really map out, make sure your storyboard matches verbatim what's in your script. If it doesn't, if for some reason you cut off your storyboard and there's still parts of the script that we can read through, that's going to be a little bit of a point deduction there. If for some reason you have a blank shot, so your audio keeps going, your sound effects keep going, but there's nothing here, that's also going to be a point deduction. We want to see if you have labeled things here for sound effects and audio, we need to see visuals that correspond to it. So those visuals go up here. Your audio, sound effects, and video. Audio is going to be your dialogue, your voiceover, things that we hear, your music. It can be music playing, things like that. You can hit return if you have dialogue and music playing underneath. That is perfectly fine. Sound effects, same thing too. Label when your sound effects start, label when your sound effects end, because that's something you're also going to want to map out in a storyboard. Because if you just have the sheet of paper and you're having to produce just basically from what you're given, you're going to want to label who's speaking, when, or what sound effects, and then finally the video in terms of is it a wide shot, medium shot, close up. Remember your sound effects, music, and video. When anything that's on that left side of the script has to be in all caps, because those are specific directions you're giving to somebody to produce a commercial. Your audio, if it's dialogue or VO, that can be in lowercase too, just like what's mentioned here in audio. So that's your storyboard. Again, each frame corresponds to a specific shot in your story, as well as your dialogue and sound effects. Like we've talked about, one frame in square is going to equal about 4 to 5 seconds. And so when you're writing your script and your storyboard, you want to avoid scenes that are shorter than 4 or 5 seconds. A lot of times, if you watch a commercial or maybe even a news story, and it's just a quick shot, one after the other, every 1 to 2 seconds, it's going by so fast, we don't know what you're focusing on. And by the time we actually recognize, hey, that's Charlie Coyote, or hey, that's Casey's General Store, or that's the middle of IV, you've already gone past that. And now we don't know where you're going with your message. So avoid scenes shorter than 4 to 5 seconds because we can't really focus on the visuals. We can't really comprehend what it is you're trying to show. On the flip side, avoid scenes that are longer than 10 seconds. You get to that 8, 9, 10-second range. We get the point. We get it. It's Charlie Coyote. We get it. It's the outside of Hy-Vee. We get it. It's a Tasty's Casey's donut. What else are you going to show us? Move on. We get the point. And so, again, sticking to that 4 to 5 second range, that 12 to 14 frames in your storyboard is really best because it's going to give us enough detail in an appropriate amount of time that we're not going to feel like the commercial is either going by so fast we're feeling rushed, we don't know the message, or that it's dragging on so much that we get the message and we're just waiting for something else. Again, avoid those quick scene changes. We need focus in your commercial. So when you're storyboarding, and I would even say when you're writing your script for your commercial overall, when you're writing your copy, thinking about your message, think about the benefit. What does Casey's provide? What are you trying to get people to go to Casey's to buy? What are you trying to get people to go to Hy-Vee or Fairway for? Mr. Smith's Cafe Brulee, the Beans, Silk Road, our pizza. Think about the features benefit, and then think about how do the visuals help. You have close-ups of sandwiches, you have close-ups of pizza, of donuts, of Diet Cokes on the table, Pepsis, burgers and fries. How do those visuals help? People enjoying food, having fun at the restaurants, things like that. How do those visuals help you tell the story? What does it show? So, like in a restaurant, you're going to probably want to mix visuals of customers and the food. You can show the food all you want, show customers enjoying the food, having fun, celebrating a night after work, having a quick lunch with, some friends, things like that. Kind of think about what the benefit is going to be for each frame you have in your storyboard. Then think what setting is best. My apologies for the quick slide change there. What setting's best? What's your message? What are you trying to show in the commercial? And what that means is you don't want to throw a lot of different settings at people because it's going to be very tough to focus and comprehend in 60 seconds. So think what setting is best. Is your goal come to Bunyan's for a tough day at work, get burgers and onion rings at Bunyan's, have fun with your friends. It's a great Friday night activity. Or if you have a quick lunch break and you're on campus, Mr. Smith's is a block away. They have excellent sandwiches and bread. They do. What type of setting is best? If you are like a work meeting or celebration, Red Steakhouse, or if you're in the mood for coffee and pastries, the Bean or Cafe Brulee, really think about, again, that 1 to 2 main objects. So remember back with our copy platform, we talked about 1 to 2 main objectives. Think 1 to 2 maybe main settings, really what you want to boil that commercial down to, then build on it. Okay. Think audio, video details and instructions under each frame. Even if it just says continue sound effects of a burger frying, continue sound effects of, lots of chatter in the muck, things like that. Always continue those instructions because a producer is going to need to know how long that sound effect needs to go for. Does that sound effect, does that music, audio pertain to that particular frame of your commercial? So on D2L, And these will be uploaded by the time this lecture is posted. So again, this lecture was posted at 8 a.m. Monday, so you'll be able to go on D2L now under content, um, content and course information, and see storyboard and TV copy examples. Again, I can email those out to you too, but these will be under D2L and content. I'll give directions to those in the email where this lecture is located. Again, each frame, match your visuals to any audio. If you're continuing sound effects or music, mention briefly in each frame. Again, give those directions every 4 to 5 seconds, what that production is within your commercial. And again, you can Google images that closely relate to the commercial. If you want to have a wide shot of the muck, that's fairly easy to find on Google, but maybe specific images of inside of Chick-fil-A and Qdoba aren't, and you want to show maybe just inside things, as long as it closely relates to the commercial, that's what I'm looking for. And again, you'll see that in the example I provide. I am happy to review any materials. Normally, I'd say make an appointment during office hours, and I can walk you through face to face anything that you have questions for. Because we are online only, email me about 12 to 24 hours in advance. If you wait until 8 p.m. Friday night and say, "Hey, can you help review my entire storyboard?" I'm probably not going to get to it, just because it's a time crunch then. But say you email me, 9 o'clock that morning or the night before, or while you're working on something, if you get 3 or 4 frames in and you want to know if you're on the right track, email me. Set a Zoom appointment, a Google Hangouts appointment, and I'm happy to review any materials you have for this assignment. Okay, so the upcoming few days ahead, excuse me, Wednesday, Friday, and Monday are going to be virtual work days. So what that means is I'm not going to post any lectures. We're not going to have any quizzes. It's basically just setting aside time to discuss the assignment. If you have time to discuss the assignment, really anytime you have those days and throughout the week to work on your assignment. There's not going to be anything new whatsoever uploaded, just assignment reminders for just kind of things to watch for while you're working on the assignment. Again, keep in mind, virtual office hours 10 to 11 a.m., 1 to 3 p.m., email, Google Hangouts by appointment, Zoom by appointment, whether individual or group. This is an individual assignment you'll be working on here for the next week or so, but still, if a couple of you have talked about the assignment or saying, "Hey, we're all kind of confused about this. Can you go over something or clarify?" I'm happy to set up a meeting. I'm happy to even post a little mini lecture, just kind of going through some specific concepts. Anything you all need for helping out these next couple of weeks, I'm here to help you out. And again, cell phone case by case basis. If you need to just quick give a call and say, "Hey, I'm really thinking about this. Am I on the right track for this?" Again, I'm always happy to help out. Stay safe, be healthy. If you're not in Vermilion, stay in Vermilion. Take care of your family, take care of your friends, take care of yourselves too. I know this is going to be a challenging time here these next couple of weeks. We'll get through it. I have faith in all of you. We'll be strong. We'll get through it, and we will succeed in this time. So stay safe, stay healthy. Um, I'm happy to help out in whatever things you need for the class or for assignments. I'm always here for you. That will conclude today's lecture for Monday, March 23rd about the TV commercial assignment. Again, keep track of your email, keep track of D2L for any course or assignment updates, as well as the next lecture. They'll be posted for the political advertising assignment. That will be after this one. So that will be in a little more than a week. Again, anything, let me know. Otherwise, stay healthy, stay safe, and we will talk to you soon.